Right there. You're live, it says. Hello, folks. I want to first thank people. I apparently coughed so hard a week or so ago during a severe allergy attack. I broke a blood vessel in my left, whatever that part of the eye is. But it looks like I got a black eye. I don't. But because I know everybody will look, oh my God, what happened to him?
Yeah.
Well, technically nothing that I know.
I was telling him that he should have said that he got into a fist fight, but he didn't want
Yeah,
to.
but I didn't.
Get in the way of our purpose here.
It was totally boring,
Yeah.
except it was no fun having such a severe allergy, but we seem to be over that now. Oh, so we're starting off. Hello, folks, and you will see if you're seeing this on video, phone or whatever, that we have our usual matrix up, and we have our question up. And then Phil and I decided we would ask a question if anybody's with us. And if you're not, we'll eventually. But we want you to look at what we have up there. And what's the lower right question? Which is, who's important to you? So let me set this up. If Phil and I can, before we do a presentation or work with any group, we sneak into the room. Maybe we don't sneak, but we go into the room.
Saunter in.
We saunter in or whatever. And it is best if nobody else is there, or at least almost nobody else. We go to the front of the room and we put that up, the matrix up with that question, who's important to you? And then we leave, we go get coffee, whatever that you do. And I mean, we don't always pull off being able to do that. But if we can, we do. So then the question is, why? Why do we go to some pretty good, links to try and get that up in front of people so that as they come into the room and sit down and you naturally look up, you see the matrix, and there's a very high probability you will read that question. Who's important to you? Why do we do that, Phil? But don't answer, Phil. I'll see if anybody's with us that will. Somebody else showed up, so somebody be brave.
People.
Why would they do that? And we've been doing it for years. This is not a new thing, folks. Not at all. I mean, we've been doing that little trick for years to go into the room and set it up and write who's important to you and then wait. And then let people show up and do the usual thing. Nobody's guessing.
No.
There's no penalty for being wrong. And as a matter of fact, we wouldn't need to try to answer the question knowing that you probably will not guess the answer. Silence out there. We need music or something.
Yeah.
Jeopardy.
There's probably deep reflection going on, right?
Deep reflection. I like deep.
Oh, here we go. Jazz.
It gets me out of language. Jazz is on. And calm. But Jazz has been with us, all right. She's got it.
Yeah.
She got the right answer.
And then Melissa, starting in a positive mindset.
Jazz has been with us, just so you know, we haven't ever met Jazz, but she's been with us a lot about their values. I mean, that's yes, but Jazz, because she's heard other presentations from us, knows that we're targeting, drum roll, people's amygdalas. And that's why you don't get it. You don't usually think of targeting an amygdala, but everybody's got one. Uh, and within the amygdala, there's that cough I was referring to, is the fight, flight, or freeze response that Jazz referred to. Uh, and so that's what it's for. And we're we're engaging the amygdala. Why? Because we know from research, and art stuff tends to be based on research, that if a human is in a room and just one other person shows up, their blood pressure goes up. Boom, goes right up. And they essentially, that's because they've gone on guard.
Yep.
The amygdala has said, there's another human and humans are dangerous, which they are, by the way. And so it's on guard. So we know that a group of people coming into the room, their amygdalas are going to be set off and people are going to be on guard. And so to begin counteracting that, because you're not going to get rid of the amygdala. That wouldn't be cool. But we are going to calm it down. And we found out many years ago that that question, who's important to you, and then the act of answering that question, who's important to you, calms it down. I mean, and that's our own research. We see the room calm down. And when you do this a lot, you know a room. You just know a room. And there's a group of people, and you quickly, you know when they're getting wound up, and you know when they're calming down. And of course, as quickly as possible, you want them to calm down, to calm. And so, yes. Now, your other answers on there are correct as well, because it not only calms the room, but now it sets us up for to establish an orienting principle, which is behavior is done in the service of who's important to you. Okay, so it's indeed setting that up as well, but we also know it's calming the amygdala. Now, why would we be so concerned about amygdalas, Phil?
Well, we just got a good response here, Kevin. So I think
Oh,
we well, and we got other people. We even have some Matrix people on here too.
yeah, we got. I mean, Anders. He's
So anybody can respond to that. There, once again, there's no such thing as a wrong response. It's just why would we be so concerned about the amygdalas in the room?
yes,
Amygdala in the room, let's say.
amygdala
Yeah.
for your Latin lovers.
Yeah. Right. Anybody have any thoughts about that?
I,
No. There you go.
a mag is firing. Yes,
Yep.
it does tend to rob flexibility.
For those of you that can't see, Jazz has said can't be flexible or creative when the amygdala is firing.
Amygdala is firing, and it tends to do that. It gives one tunnel vision. Uh, Fair is evident part of life, right?
Narrows your attention.
Narrow your attention down for good reason.
Yeah.
That's you want your attention narrowed down if your amygdala has been activated. Uh, And if you're at a context where it needs to be activated, for
Right.
the most part, this is not a setting where it needs to be
No,
activated.
no.
However, people's amygdala are very indiscriminate
Yeah,
about where they get activated.
amygdalas are equal opportunity.
Now, they don't give a flip. So
Yeah.
they'll come into a room like this. There'll be people around. And now we go to the topic at hand, sort of. These are people in the room that maybe are having troubles. They're stuck. Okay, they're stuck. They're talking past each other. They're having troubles. Okay, and so they may look around the room and see those other people they're stuck with, and their amygdalas go off.
Hmm.
I mean, this just happens. That's just what happens. And so we don't want to leave that alone. That's our thing. We're not going to go in and ignore that fact and just let that ride. No, 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 no. we're going to take charge, and we do it many minutes before the presentation. Or and when I say presentation, I mean we're working with a group, or we're presenting at a conference or wherever. We don't care. We always do the same thing. That's We're old. We don't want to have to remember anything new. So we just do the same thing over and over. It works for us, and so we'll do that. So, but it really is us focusing on the amygdalas, and then forever while we're doing our thing, we're monitoring the amygdalas. And a pro tip: we're writing up a course for this. And a pro tip I put in there is imagine that you're talking to amygdalas. And it'll you'll be better off. Why? Because you'll be more careful about what you say.
Hmm.
Right.
You'll be choosing those words carefully.
You right. You'll be carefully choosing your words, as Phil just said. So yes, that's why we're doing it. And so that's the big setup of this, or the beginnings of this, is us doing this. Now we'll get to the problem.
Yeah,
I started doing that recently, and it's magic. Yeah,
it does feel like magic.
good for you, Jazz.
Yeah.
Because some people go, I'm just going to be, sort of say that. Some people say, oh, Phil and Kevin are full of it.
Right.
I don't need to do something like that.
It's dumb.
That's dumb. I don't need to do something like that. I'm not going to do that. Uh, and in all honesty, they probably pay the price for it later.
Yeah.
I mean, all the way to the point that if you're working with a troubled bunch of people, team, well, let's call it a team, uh, it can end up being a failure for you.
Yeah.
I'll use that word, failure. It just won't work out for you. And, and you might have had a good chance of it working out if you'd have just started this way and paid attention to the amygdalas and got them soothed down and and began with it that way. Um, and because like Phil and I, if we were in the wings watching and you didn't, we would be paying careful attention, well, to the amygdalas in the room,
Right.
and we would know that they're not settled.
Yeah.
We would be able to see that they're not settled. And we would be going, oh boy, that's not a good thing.
Yes. That would be manifesting the behaviors that stuck teams manifest
They get right into their bad behavior.
right before your very eyes. Yeah.
Right. They'll just go right into it. And well, how did we learn this? Because that happened to us. So we learned a way to do it, to almost always keep it from happening.
Yeah.
I mean, could happen, but most
Yeah,
of the time, no.
decreasing the possibilities, right?
You really decrease the probability of them launching into their old bad behaviors because this is a new behavior.
Oh,
You will at times when you do this, you'll hear somebody say, "Gee, nobody ever asked me that before."
exactly what someone said to me years ago.
It's like,
Big eyes. Wow, no one's ever asked me that.
yeah, and it's novel, but at the same time interesting. They are curious indeed, and I was like, wow, and because of that, and literally, Phil and I have done this thousands of times. They go along with it. They
Always
just, they just go along with it. Fine. Uh, and now they're totally off of their old behaviors. This whatever the stuff that they do within a stuck team, they're off of it, and they're on to doing this, to answering this question. Who's important. Now, what follows when we show up, and this is another odd thing we that happens, um, and you'll notice I'm going to spend quite a while going through each of these. We're going to do this week after week after week. We're going to gradually go through what we do. Okay, so we're just paying. You ever heard of starting on the right foot? We're
Well,
going to labor
yeah.
starting on the right foot.
Well, and you know what, Kevin? You just made me think of something. Kevin and I used to talk about horsemanship quite a bit back in the day.
Yeah.
And you remember Tom Durant's what he
Oh
said?
yeah.
How do you make the right thing easy to do? This,
That's
folks,
it.
is really the answer to how you make the right thing easy to do.
And Durant's was talking about for horses.
Yeah.
So how do you set things up? So the right thing, which of course in terms of a horse is what you want them to do, but how do you set things up so it's easy for the horse to do it? And if you guys don't know, he's one of the he was the godfather of the horse whisperers. If you've heard of the movie and stuff. But he was very good at that. Well, it turns out for any animal, including humans, it's best to set things up so they'll do, what they need to do, and that's what this is, right? So you're setting things up, and so now when you come into the room, Phil and I don't care about being introduced. It's off topic for us. We don't, and we get in trouble for this one. I don't mean trouble, but it's just if we're there and as a guest,
Yeah,
well, I guess we're almost always a guest. It'll throw the person off as
oh,
like
yeah.
I'm supposed to introduce you.
I have a whole thing. Here's what I want to say. What do you want me to say? Nothing. Here's Phil.
We don't want to say nothing. We'll now the way I've done it is like what? Well, there will be a break
Yeah.
in about 40 minutes or so here, and then you can do that. So just let me do my thing for a while, and then at the break you can do that. So far, I've gotten away with that. Now, why is it that I don't want them talking about me, or Phil doesn't want them talking about Phil, or if you're doing this, why you don't want them talking about you? I'll give you a scenario for jazz. Imagine that you're going in to talk to a bunch of 17-year-olds,
Ah,
and the person is going to stand in front of the 17-year-olds and tell them, all of your accolades. What are they going to do with it? What do you think?
do, 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 do.
Well, wait for an answer.
Go to their head.
Right? That's a great way of putting it. They'll
Yeah,
go to their head.
yeah, they're
Right.
gonna,
Well, I'm in their head.
yeah,
That's not where we want them.
they're going to check out.
Right. They in some way, shape, or form, they're going to check out. And guess what? Dealing with adults is absolutely no different than dealing with adolescents. None.
Right. Then your task becomes how do you reel them back in? So you've made your job more difficult right there.
And right now, you've made your job more difficult because you bowed to this person who wanted to introduce you. They do it. You've actually lost your group. You've lost them. What? Let's just say they've gone into their heads, and now you've got to carefully bring them back. Most of the time you can. I'm not trying to be a fatalist or something. You probably can, but why? 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 Why take the chance? Why? Why do that? Don't do it. Just try and talk them into. They'll introduce you later, much later. So why you can stick with who's important. That's why. And we want to go straight into that. And so at that point, now we have a script written up. I won't go exactly on the script, but it will say something like, you know what, folks, you see this question up here? And they'll go, well, yeah, we've seen that. We've seen that question. You know, I can tell you who's important to me. My wife is important to me. Full stop. Now, Phil, what do you say
Oh,
at that point?
I'm going to start to tell you.
No, no. I
Oh,
mean, if you didn't, you're doing the presentation now.
oh yeah,
What's your
I'm
intro?
going to say my wife.
Okay, you use your wife as
Yeah,
well. Okay. Anderson says my
and there you go.
right,
That works very well with a bunch of teens, Anders. That's
right.
great.
We don't care.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter.
That doesn't matter.
Yeah,
Uh, what we care is that you started it off self-disclosing who's important to you, and you gave them an example of the kind of person that you want to have listed, which is self, wives, sons, daughters, uncles, aunts, that kind of folks. And so then you can say, can anybody else share who's important to you? So think of what I just said. I just said, see this question up here? They go, yeah, yeah, yeah. I'll tell you right now who's important to me. My wife is important to me. Now, I might see that disembodied hand there in the diagram. Take the disembodied hand and write wife right about where it is there, right? Where the
yep.
pin is. And then turn around and say, anybody else? I've never had them not answer.
Well, they
And they
start in.
go, oh my God, what if they don't answer? Okay, but they will. Uh,
Yep.
it's not, it's not a question people lay off of, They give you an answer to that question. And especially because you gave them an example of what you wanted.
Yeah.
They're not thinking, oh, they want some highfalutin thing or whatever. No, no, no. It is what, and so they'll say husbands, sons, daughters, they'll say whatever, and you write them on the board. Now, it's fun to drum up answers to who met, right? And now what Phil and I tend to do is write them up on the board.
Yeah.
Uh, we would recommend you do that.
Absolutely.
We will tell you to do that. Why
Yeah.
don't we do that, Phil? We
Yeah.
tell you.
I think that's in the script, actually.
It's in the script. We tell you to do that.
Write them down.
Write them down up on that board. And we don't care if you have to fill it up and steal space from other
Go
quadrants.
nuts on it if you want to. You can
Yeah,
have a good old time just talking about who's important to you.
and really, really, really just play that for a while. Play who's important in the lower right hand quadrant for a time. stick with that. Now, remember, we're dealing with amygdalas.
Yep.
So we're calming the amygdala. Now, somebody up there said, get him talking about values, which is exactly it,
Yep.
which is it. Values are what's called an organizing principle. So who's important to you. And so you're getting them used to the answers to that question and to answering it and to having a very civil conversation about who's important. Okay. And and just I don't and there's no particular time limit on it or anything. But notice that's why we didn't want to be introduced. We want to get to that conversation.
This is what's important is to
Right.
have
This
this conversation.
this is way, 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 way important. Who we are is not important. So maybe if you're narcissistic, you need to work on that and let go of that because we are not important.
No,
Are we important because we know where we're going with this process? Okay, yeah,
that
we're
that
important.
that is true.
Right. We know that. We know where we're going, and the group that we're working with does not know where we're going. But we have begun a journey with them. The journey began before we ever got in the room because we put up who's important to you. They could read that as they came into the room. Once we came into the room, we don't want to be interrupted. We want to go straight into that conversation of who's important to you. And we want to develop that. We do not want to give that short shrift.
No,
No, no, no. We want to have a jovial conversation. Is that a good word, Phil?
I like that. Jovial. Ooh, it even feels good when you say jovial, you know?
Well, hasn't almost all of yours been jovial?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
This
yeah,
is the best part when I ask the question and they get first you get that little kind of and then you say it like I say my wife's important to me and everybody goes, "Oh." And then the hands are going up and the people are blurting stuff out and you've started the process as we like to
right.
say.
And you really, 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 really want to give them that example
Yeah.
of who's important to you
Yeah.
because because now they're not guessing about what you
No,
want.
you're
Now
making
they
it
know,
easy
oh,
to do. Right. Everybody can respond to that question.
got it. And everybody, of course, everybody loves that. I mean, I love that when I get asked a question and I'm not
Oh my gosh.
quite sure what they want, and then when they give me an example of what they want, like, oh, well, great, I can do that. And so they do. And you just do it for a while, 5, 10, 15 minutes. I don't care how long. I mean, you wouldn't want to take the whole time up because you'd never get to the next step of the process. But, um, you know, I haven't had that happen.
Well, now if you have the luxury of time and you have the full day, well, you can kind of play around with it if you
well,
want.
and yeah, Phil and I, we'll oftentimes talking, do I have 30 minutes? Do I have an hour? Do I
Uh-huh.
have 4 hours? Do I have 8 hours? Do I have 16 hours? Yeah,
Most of the time, you don't have the luxury of time. You've got a finite
well,
amount of time.
usually you have a lot shorter period of time, so maybe you'll cut it off a little bit, but usually not much. It works out. So it's a lot of fun and treat it that way. And it is the absolute beginning of your process. And for whoever, somewhere, buddy, I can't read up through there, said values.
Yeah.
If you were using acceptance and commitment therapy talk, yeah, we're
Mhm.
establishing the values section right there. We just don't use that word.
No.
Oh, there's that language stuff.
Oh, yeah.
We ought to put that in there. We don't do it because it's too heavy a word. There's too many audiences that won't respond well to it,
Yeah.
or too many members at least individual members within an audience, and sometimes that's only 5 or 6 people that you're working with. But one of them will take offense at that word, values. Gets people right back in their head, and then that's jazz, right? And when they take offense, they're in their head, and then now you're
Losing
and
them.
Bill and I long ago learned we don't want to do that. So that never happens with who's important to you. We just stick with that. So we don't use that. So the more you do this, you'll learn about. Now, over in the course that we're writing, it's a script that you read. It's not a optional thing. It's simply a script. And we warn you in the course, don't go off script. Stay on the script. And you'll notice the script does not include the word values. Nowhere will it show up.
Anywhere.
No, it won't show up in there. So it's a script. And why is it a script? Because we're trying to give you the best chance of success that you can get. That's why. So that's why we're doing it this way of writing a scripted version. If you listen to us, you'd be amazed at how close we sound from one to the next, for which I've had people like my wife, for example, who's heard me present multiple times and like, it's uncanny. You're doing the same thing over and over. And I'm like, well, if you were watching me do Hamlet, you would go, gee, amazing. You're saying the same words over and over.
Oh, hey, I got the script here.
Well, yeah. I guess I'm reading the damn script. That's why. I'm sticking to the script. I'm not going flitting around, because if you do, you'll too much chance of entering in words that you don't want to get in there. And Jazz says it right, and other people have said it. You don't want people going in their heads. That's just you just don't want that. So you want them staying, rolling along in the process with you, rolling along in the process. So that's why in this presentation, we've really belabored this, who's important to you, because it's that important.
It is.
Don't overuse that word important. But it really, really, really is extraordinarily important to do. And you want to get it well established and get people nice and cozy in the room. And you can see them.
Yeah.
Their shoulders come down.
Yeah, right. They relax. Their facial expressions change. They soften.
They laugh a lot.
Yeah, a lot of chuckles. A lot of chuckles.
Yep. And that's what you want. That's your warm up. So, yeah, you probably, if you're like me, you've been to presentations where they do the warm up exercise, whatever that is, which is fine. This is just ours. But ours is because it's the beginning of a journey that starts with who's important to you. And it'll become clear to you later where we're going. But right now, we have to start with square one. And square one is who's important. And it's so important that we sneak into the room and put it up on the board before we ever even get started. I don't know which one of us thought to do that, but it was a good idea. So we both started doing it.
It evolved. Yep.
Right,
Yep.
it evolves
Right.
and it works. So next you can have fun sneaking around trying to get in the room, getting your
Yeah.
easel or whatever.
How do I get my easel and my diagram up before people come?
And you go in the room and the like you're in some venue and they go, we don't have a whiteboard, we don't have this.
Yeah, right.
Then you got to get inventive, but we do. We really do. We make sure and get it up there. So now that you know the answer to this question, which is we're dealing with the amygdala. above all else, we're dealing with the amygdalas in the room and we're calming them down. And yes, we're then organizing them on this idea of who's important to you. And I don't mean to be coy about it. It's just that later on, all questions revolve around what are you doing for who's important to you? That's always it. People say, I'm lost. I don't know what. Phil will say,
Well, who's important to you?
boom. That's how we do it. We do it. People, I'm confused. I don't know what to do. Oh, well, who's important to you? So and so. Well, what could you do for them? Boom. That's what we mean about this organizing principle of behavior. People can grab a hold of that and then realize the simple thing they can do for who's important to them, including themselves. Could be yourself. I'm important to me. Great. What can you do for yourself?
Yeah.
And so always that. So that's why this is so, well, for what we do, it's vitally important. No doubt about that. Vitally important for what we do. So now next, it won't be today, but we'll go. Most of you already know the lower left.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, Jazz, what goes in the lower left? It starts with a Y.
There you go.
You got it again? The Yucky stuff.
You're an Avenger.
Now, just because it pertains to this, why wouldn't we have started with Yucky stuff? Hey, everybody who happens to be looking at people that you don't get along with.
Yeah. Or maybe sitting right next to him.
What kind of Yucky stuff are you at?
Right. You got it. Yeah. Yep. Farm bells going off everywhere. Aruga, Aruga, Mayday, Mayday.
Oh, yeah. That's a bad scene. But when we have a way of transitioning to it that we'll go over next time.
Yes.
But because we started over here and got the amygdala calmed down, and if we pop over to the Yucky stuff in just the right way, pretty easy, you can do it and you won't set off the amygdalas. Instead, they'll take on what's known as a perspective taking mode, meaning I can see myself having fear. I can see myself having anxiety, whatever. I can see myself having that. So that's what you're setting up with this. So when you go over to that lower left Yucky stuff, they don't go in their head on it. They don't get hooked by it. The word we use is hooked. They don't get hooked by it. They can just matter of factly look at it. And and I'll tell you right now as a hint, we don't say, what are you having? We say, what do people in general have? We don't ask about the room. We ask about what do people in general have for Yucky stuff. So the people in the room are now talking about the people outside the room.
More perspective.
And it's also a lot easier to talk about the people out there.
Yeah.
Than the people in here. You'll notice that's a trick that we routinely keep following is we talk about the people out there in the beginning. Obviously, at some point, we're going to be in the room, but in these beginning stages, no. We don't. So that is something that I guess we'll sort of finish up with is people will think, well, what I need to go in and talk to them about the problem that they're having. We hear that a lot. What would you recommend in that case, Phil?
Well, I'm thinking about one of our unwritten rules that we carry around in the back of our
Are you
minds.
kidding? We've written it down.
Well, that's true. They don't know it yet, so it's unwritten. I think it's in the course, right? We're gonna
It's
put
in
it.
the course,
Yeah,
right?
it's in the course.
What is that rule?
Well, we don't talk about the problem.
Never, never, and may I say it again, never talk about the problem. We don't ever talk about the problem. Never. And that'll blow your minds,
Yeah.
maybe. But we've been very successful at this, and we don't talk about the problem. And we can almost guarantee you failure if you begin by talking about the problem.
You're on the road to ruin there.
You're on the road to ruin it. Yeah. You're going to have a bad day,
Yep.
and you will never keep this work up. Never. There's no way, unless you're just what do they call those people? Masochists or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Unless you're one of those, man, no way. So don't worry about the problem. Just, just don't. And there's all this whole literature about defining the problem, and no, not this, not this. This is a process that does not include having to talk about the problem. It doesn't include it, and it works really well without talking about the problem. So don't do that. So just in case you think, oh, but it's my job to tell or talk to them about the problem.
Right.
No, it's not.
Nope.
We're just telling you, really, this is it. We got we tell people, don't do that. Don't do that. You'll set off everybody's amygdala.
Oh, yeah.
Your chances of success are minuscule.
You're going to get all fired up.
Yeah, it's minuscule. You want to give them flexible. Their only one job is to take stuck people and transform them into flexible people. That's it. They're not going to transform them into flexible people if you start talking to them about their problem. They will become very inflexible for you. Well, they'll get more inflexible than they were to begin with.
Yeah, you'll increase stuckness. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, you'll increase stuckness. So now the formula is quite easy, folks. I mean, at least to say in a sentence, you're taking people from being stuck to less stuck. That's what you're doing. Now, it's just like having that Tom Durant's having a bad acting horse.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, you just need to do this. Well, great. Yeah. Or the whole process that has to happen to get that horse from stuck in its ways to less stuck. And, so that's what you want. By the way, it's the same process. The horse is stuck, and you're working with the horse to become more flexible. It's the same with people. They're stuck, and you're working with them to become more flexible. And that's what we should finish on. You are modeling flexibility.
Yes. You're introducing flexibility into the stuckness. It's really kind of the simple way of looking at it,
right? Every chance you get, model flexibility.
And modeling involves your words and your actions.
Yep. And which is funny because we're telling you to be absolutely inflexible.
Right.
And starting with who's important to you.
Yes, we are.
Which is an anomaly that's well known, that in order to become good at something and flexible in the end, you have to start very rigid. It's like learning how to play any game or sport or whatever.
You need a structure.
Right. You need a structure and you need an explicit set of rules. Do this, do this, do this, do this, do this. And then after you do it a whole bunch of times, then you can get flexible with it. This is our thing. You're going to do this. So we have belabored the heck out of who's important to you on purpose.
Yep.
Because people are we're blowing it. We know it.
Only past this step.
They blow past the step,
Yeah.
right? They don't do it. They weren't doing it. But we would no longer want to be responsible for anybody for the moment thinking that you need to pass this test or pass this step. Don't do that. Do this step. Period. We will give you a break. Maybe circumstances won't work with you so that you can get it up in front of people beforehand. I myself have run into that.
It can happen. I've had that experience.
So you just start with it as soon as you're in the room.
Right. That's
But
okay.
most of the time I can get it up in front of people.
As soon as you can. As soon as you can.
Right. And so it's up there. So I can get those amygdalas cooled down. Get everybody nice and calm and working into the process. So, and then probably next week, what we'll do, well, I know what we'll do. We'll go to the stuff and we'll flesh out a little more about what's going on in this process. But we'll work for you. You folks, you can take some really stuck people.
Oh boy.
Really stuck people and get them a whole lot less stuck and working together and coming up with stuff. You can. I've done it many times. And it's not, and I know it's not just me because Phil can do it too.
Many times. Yep.
Right. Phil can do it too. So it's not, but following the script works. It will get you there. And that's just it. And the first part of the script is to set the stage, set the who's important, have a good conversation about it, pay attention to amygdalas in the room, and don't risk things. Don't say extraneous words. Don't do that. Stick to the script. And the script will be in the course. We'll give you that soon.
You'll have
You'll have the script soon. But yeah, don't go flapping, whatever they call that, flapping your mouth. Is that what they say?
Flapping your gums.
Yeah, that'd be dangerous.
Yeah.
Words slip out and you'll set off an amygdala. Here you go.
Yeah.
Now, once you start paying attention to amygdalas, you'll notice this, folks. You'll notice
your life will never be the same.
Yeah. You'll go, oh crap.
Yeah. Here's one firing off right now.
Then you'll stick to the script. Don't do that. Because ultimately what you want to do is make your life easier. Okay. That's I think most people want that. At least I do.
Unless you're in for a difficult presentation or workshop, then go right ahead.
Yeah. This is about making it easy.
It's too much work.
It is for us. So we'll be back next time, off into yucky stuff.
Yeah.
So we'll preamble it. We'll start off with who's important again, even for you folks. We'll start at that off and bring it in. And this will be sort of part of the course and part of as we build this course that will show up over in the Act Matrix Academy. And as we really focus on ProSocial, now I'll talk about that. Why are we focusing on ProSocial, Phil?
Well, because the world needs it, Kevin. That's why.
I think I noticed some stuck people somewhere.
Yeah, I keep seeing it all over the place. It just keeps showing up.
Gee, I wonder where they are.
Yeah.
Has Has anybody on our list still with us noticed any stuck people lately?
Agrees.
Yeah, we we went, oh crap, we're all, we were having fun doing all kinds of stuff that we're like, we gotta go back and do pro-social because
Yeah.
people need pro-social.
It's a bit much right now.
Crazy, crazy world, right? And it's stuck people that are talking past each other and all silos and
Or
all that.
in their little bubbles. Yep, yep.
So the more people we can get trained in doing this, the better. Uh, and be honest with you folks, crazy world, however, all is well. There you go. But a lot of people would go out, will do this work, and they really will get beaten up.
Mhm.
Right. You can get beaten up doing this work. There's no doubt about it. We want to set it up so you don't. Okay. That doesn't happen to you. And so, and then you can go into literally any team and anybody, anywhere, any group, anywhere. And you'll go, oh, do you know what to do? Oh, yeah, I know just what to do.
Yep. Just let me loose.
And here I come, and it's going to start with who's important to you. It's always going to start there because I'm going to initiate that process, and it will work. I agree. Me, like Jazz does it. I mean, it's not just Phil and I. Jazz is on here. Andrews is
Andrews,
on here. These people over here on this chat. Some of these are
yeah,
old hands at this.
pretty salty at this stuff.
They're salty at this. They know this works. So yeah, you do it. And they probably have done it so much they can be off script a little bit. But for the newbies out there, we'll put you on script. Okay? And stay on script
Start,
for the
start here.
start there and stick
Get,
there for
get
quite
your
a few
progress.
repetitions. Okay.
Yep.
But we're doing this because the world needs pro-social. Guess it always needs pro-social, but we'll do it again. So we'll be back probably next Thursday.
Yeah, probably.
Right? Same title, same everything,
Yep.
as we gradually work around this. And we'll slowly go through quite a bit of the course in these crowdcasts. And the course will, well, of course, the course, when we get it done, it'll have handouts and stuff like that you won't, it's not really possible for us to do here. So, it'll work. So everybody cool. You have a good time.
Yeah.
Nice to see Andrews. Nice
Yeah,
to
good to see you.
see all of you folks on. Invite more people. Get more people to show up.
Yeah.
And
Bring a friend. Bring a couple of friends.
Do pro-social.
Yeah, be pro-social, right.
Be pro-social. Bye-bye, everybody.
See you. Take care, everyone.
Yeah, take care, really.